Hello, everyone, and welcome to Game 3 in a best of 3 series. I believe a best of 3 series between Imba Strlok versus Complexity MVP Don Regu here on Tall Dream Altar. So far, the games have been very long, or not very long, just decent length macro games coming to the end. Don Regu making a very, very nice comeback after being a bit behind just in the early game. Strlok really unable to get into his full stride, and then dropping game 2 in this best of 3 to tie it at 1 game apiece. If you guys didn't know the games already, well, then again, you can always watch them and figure out how they were able to get there as opposed to just the final score and the final results. Don Regu spawning as the teal Zerg player at the 4.5 position or the 5 o'clock position. Meanwhile, Strlok spawning over here on the top right hand side as the red Terran. So we'll see what's going to happen here. Zerg versus Terran once more. Strlok opening up with a supply depot right here. The supply depot right here may be trying to set up a barracks here in just a moment, or he could go for a fast command center. Fast command center, a little bit riskier, but it does keep you even with your opponent if you think your opponent is going to be trying to go for that very, very fast hatchery. And it looks like that is going to be the case. Strlok going to be going into a very fast command center and once again trying to get into that very strong late game. Don Regu at the same time will be moving into most likely a 15 hatchery here. So it looks like it will be the battle of expansions here on Tall Dream Altar. Still waiting for the additional, that SCV, the 15th SCV will go ahead and build that command center now, finishing off this wall in, and we'll see how Don Regu is going to respond. Don Regu is going to be able to scout out this command center relatively easily and relatively quickly. SCV now passing through the center there, having no real issue at all. If that one particular SCV does need a little bit of repairing, yes, it is going to get repaired just a little bit. Now back up to 443, and now both sides are fighting as this one SCV is getting back to work. Strlok also building up a command center over here, and this drone would have come out ahead just because of the natural regeneration as that SCV now moves out. We can see that a spawning pool is currently being built as well. And now we also have the extractor up and running. So we'll see whether or not we get that early metabolic boost and how much damage can be done early on in this game. SCV scouting in the wrong direction. It will take a little bit of time before he really finds where Don Regu is. And now taking a look over here, Strlok with only 1 gas up and running. Very interesting that he did get a gas up and running as opposed to that double gas. And we'll see whether or not he tries to go into early factory for some Hellion harassment. Command center will be completed right about now. Now already being upgraded to an orbital command, sitting at 19/30. And we need to see what other production buildings will be added. Strlok now adding in that factory, most likely will be getting a reactor as well on that barracks in order to start double training Hellions. Meanwhile, back over here, Don Regu running off of 2 bases, training up 2 queens, not harvesting or only harvesting gas with 1 drone right now. So it looks like Don Regu really wants to drone up and get a strong economy as well. He is not going to be building much of an army. And roaches probably be the best option right now, even though they are a little bit slow. Zerglings now looking to capture those Zelnaga towers as we are now going into a tech lab. All right, so a tech lab, and perhaps this is going to be a tech lab into a very fast Banshee. This is perhaps going to be one of the strangest builds I've seen in quite some time. If it is, it's going to be a 15 command center followed by cloaked Banshees, and this may actually work very well against Don Regu. Don Regu not going to be expecting this, expecting his opponent to perhaps go into mass marauder play. And then trying to put a little bit of pressure, perhaps even with some of those Hellions. 1 Hellion will be trained up. The Hellion is going to make its way out, and it's going to look exactly like, or look as though there are going to be Hellions. And now the Overlord does spot the starport, though. So the starport has been spotted, a Banshee now being trained, and now we should start to get that cloaking research as well as mules being called into play over here. What's going to happen? The Roach Warren is now being added, and this hatchery could be used as a macro hatch and train up a lot of roaches in just a moment. You can see there is a lot of minerals and a lot of gas saved up. Don Regu getting out that roach warren, and yes, training up to 6 roaches right now. And this 7 roaches right now, if he's able to push out and get in a lot of damage here, it's going to catch Strlok off guard because the Banshee perhaps is going to be out of position. No cloak is being researched at all, as Zerglings are now starting to swarm. The army size of Donregu much larger. Donregu did decide to hold off and really decided to hold off on a round of drones, and now these roaches, as they're pushing out, could easily destroy the current forces of Strlok. Strlok is in a bit of trouble. He is not training any additional Banshees. One Banshee is now in the air, and this is going to definitely be a problem. Roaches, Zerglings, Donregu with such good map sense, knowing that his opponent probably doesn't have very much at all. And yeah, this is not good at all. The Banshee pilot now being forced to run all the way home. Only one Marine in that bunker. That one Marine very lonely, as the roaches are now starting to swarm in. This is not good at all. A reactor now being added over here, but too little, too late. One Banshee is not going to be enough to handle this entire swarm of units. A lot of SCV casualties will come into play. And yeah, Strlok, without good map sense and map control, quickly losing this game here on Tal'Darim Altar. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.